game.
Hello everyone! Have you heard a story about a king with a dark secret? Once there lived a king. He was very proud of his looks. He spent hours and hours admiring himself, looking at his reflection in the mirror. There cannot be another king as handsome as me. And he felt very pleased. He dressed himself in the finest clothes and put on the finest jewelry in the land. People grew tired of him as he hardly attended to their problems. The king, on the other hand, made sure his hairstyle was new every day. But he covered his ears. Yes, you heard me right. He covered his ears. Guess why? Because the king had ears which looked like donkey ears. And the only person who knew about this was the king's barber, Tajuk. Tajuk constantly lived in fear, as the king would threaten him with death if he ever told anyone about his donkey ears. He was not even allowed to cut anybody else's hair or shave anyone in the kingdom. Can you believe it? Poor Tajuk. He couldn't sleep or eat. He was afraid to speak to anyone. His wife, Ko-Kurikulum, couldn't stand this at all. One day, picking up courage, Ko-Kurikulum asked him, "Why do you seem so unhappy?" Tajuk did not reply. He just walked out of their house and sat by the pool. The pool was surrounded by many tamarind trees. Ko-Kurikulum followed and sat beside him. She pleaded, "Please, tell me what's bothering you. I promise I won't tell anyone." Finally, Tajuk opened up and told her about the king's donkey ears. I'm so scared. I'm so scared to speak to anyone. I miss my friends, and I know that I'm losing them all one by one. But what can I do? As he was talking, the tamarind trees there heard every word he said and absorbed everything. Tajuk felt slightly better, and Ko-Kurikulum promised that she wouldn't tell it to anyone. But soon, even Ko-Kurikulum became restless too. So one day, she went to the tamarind trees and whispered the secrets to them. "The king has donkey ears! The king has donkey ears!" And now, she felt much better. That night, there was a fierce storm. The tamarind trees were knocked down. The king was informed about this, and he commanded the trees to be given to the royal musicians to make new drums for the festival season. The festival season arrived. The people gathered to watch the grand performance. "Let the music begin," ordered the king. The drummers began beating their drums. But what did the drums beat? "The king has donkey ears, donkey ears, the king has donkey ears." Donkey ears! The crowd burst out laughing. The king, on the other hand, was shocked and he was furious. "How dare the barber disclose my secret?" And he immediately ordered the barber to be executed. Tajuk was dragged to the court, and he pleaded that he was innocent. Ko-Kurikulum and the drummers were questioned as well. And finally, the king discovered that it was the tamarind trees divulging his secrets. The king felt embarrassed and decided to set the barber free. Dear judges, what do we learn from this story? We should embrace flaws and imperfections in lives and be honest with it, as truth will always find a way to reveal itself. Thank you.
Didik TV KPM. Didik TV KPM.
A good day to the wise judges. Today, I would like to entertain you with a story entitled The Wicked Witch. Once upon a time, there was a poor woman who stayed with her children in a little hut near the jungle. One day, she wanted to go to town to buy some food. I'm going to town. Be careful and don't let anyone in unless you're sure it's me, she warned her children. A few hours later, a witch who lived deep in the jungle came hobbling over. The witch hurried to the hut and knocked on the door. Who is that? Asked the children. It's me, your mother. Open the door. She replied. How can we be sure you are our mother? Asked the children. Our mother's voice is sweet and soft, but yours is not. Immediately, the wicked witch used her magical powers and changed the voice. She asked the children to open the door once again. It's me, your mother. Open the door, children, she said sweetly. Yes, you do sound like our mother, so they happily opened the door. As soon as they opened the door, the witch bounced in and tried to grab the children. Here I am, and now I catch all of you. The children ran all around the house, shouting, help, 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 mother, help. They ran here, there, everywhere, trying to hide from the witch. The witch was too clever. Finally, she caught the children and took them to her house. After some time, the children's mother returned. She called, children, I'm home. Open the door. There was no response. The mother got worried, and when she opened the door, the house was empty. She stared around in disbelief. This must be the work of the wicked witch, the mother said. I've got to save my children before it's too late. Then she set off to the witch's house. It took her a long time to reach there. Upon reaching there, she peeked in and saw her children tied to a pole. They looked frightened and were crying. The witch was seen mixing some spell in a huge pot while chanting, works. My effort shall be rewarded. Finally, I found a formula to shrink a person. As she was about to force the children to drink the magic formula, she heard a noise outside. What is that noise outside? Let me go and check. The mother, who was patiently waiting outside, grabbed the opportunity. She quickly untied the children and they ran all the way home. In a few minutes, the witch returned. She was shocked to see the children gone. She shouted angrily, stamped her feet. What? What happened? Where are the children? She was so furious and started breaking things. Suddenly, she felt thirsty. She grabbed the glass with formula and gulped it in. Oh no! Within seconds, she realized her mistake. She was shrinking. She shrunk 6 inches in height. She could not do anything anymore. She was so ashamed, She ran into the woods and was never to be seen again. Ladies and gentlemen, the moral of the story is always listen to your elders. Thank you. A pleasant day. I will be telling you a story entitled What We Plant, We Will Eat. Many moons ago, two brothers, Jung and Kim, lived in Seoul, Korea. Kim, the younger brother, worked hard. As for Jung, he was lazy but arrogant. One day, their father fell ill. He said, "Remember, my sons, what we plant, we will eat. Share this property and work together." After saying so, he passed away. After his father's funeral, Jung came out of home. Kim wandered aimlessly and helplessly for miles until one day he found a deserted area with a broken piece of land and a small house. He tended the piece of land carefully. He made enough money to buy a bigger land. He was able to have a family too. 2 years passed and a drought overcame the land. Slowly, his crops began to fail and his family was starving. So he decided to go and ask his wealthy big brother for a little bit of rice. "Ha ha ha, it's my land now," said Jung as he slammed it on Kim's face. With a heavy heart, Kim turned around and started his journey home. Suddenly, he heard a frantic chirping above him. He saw a baby robin trying to escape from a snake that was trying to eat it. It tried to fly, but it was too young, so it just fell down on the ground. Its leg was broken, so Kim tore off a little bit of his shirt and treated the baby robin's leg. After the snake had left, he placed the baby robin back in its nest and continued his journey home. The next few days were hard. One day, the baby robin came flying and perched on the rooftop while singing a bouncy tune of thank you. It then dropped a huge seed onto a damp patch of soil. Kim watched as the seed grew into a vine, which grew big, luscious melons. In an hour, the melons were ready to be eaten. "Father, father, can we eat a magic melon?" cried his hungry children. Kim chopped open the first melon and was astonished to find so many gold coins. His family was rich beyond their wildest dreams. Jung got to know of his younger brother's fortune. Jealousy blinded him, so he decided to go and look for his own magic bird. He roamed the village for many days, and at last he stumbled across a bird with a broken wing. He picked it up and sneered, "I will help you, little bird, only if you help me become rich." After the bird's wing had healed, it flew to Jung's house and dropped a large seed into the moist soil. Jung watched as the seed grew into a vine which grew big melons. When the melons were ripe, Jung took an axe and chopped open the biggest melon. And to his shock, the melons were full of Vikings. Unable to believe that all the melons were bad, he chopped open the second melon, and inside were a huge ball of anacondas. As time passed, the melons started to overripe and started bursting on their own. Soon, Jung's house was filled with many other animals which ambushed his house. Jung ran away from home until he saw a huge house standing in front of him. He was surprised to see Kim standing in front of the house, busy gardening. "I have lost everything," said Jung. "Come, brother, let us
plant a new crop together. For what we plant, we will eat. Joe regretted his mistake. He was very grateful for his brother's kindness. He vowed to always be kind and work hard. The end.
Didik TV KPM. Didik TV KPM.
Hello, the title of my story is Una and the Giant. Long ago, in the land of giants, Una, who was beautiful and smart, lived with her husband, Finn McCool. He was one of the most famous giants, with his shock of white hair and his magic thumb that could help him read people's mind. One day, Finn came running up home, threw open the door, and ran inside yelling, "Una! Niels does not know where we live! He's coming after me!" Is that so? And just who is this Niels? Only the biggest, meanest giant there is! He means to pulverize me with his huge fists, just for fun! With my magic thumb, I can always tell when he's coming and can get away. But now that he knows where we live, there'll be no stopping him. How long before he arrives? Stepping on his magic thumb, Finn replied, he'll be here at about 3 o'clock. And he means to squash me flat as a pancake. Whatever shall I do? Hush now, just do as I say and everything will work out fine. Right away, Una started making a batch of 6 cakes. 3 of them she made just as usual. But she put large stones in the other 3. Then she had Finn get into a big cradle. She covered him with a blanket and put a lace cap on his head. Now you just stay there and pretend to be a baby. You can suck your thumb and you know exactly what I'm thinking and what I want you to do. At exactly 3 o'clock, Niels pounded on the door. Bam, bam, bam! Is this the house of Finn McCool? Why, it is. Come in and make yourself comfortable. So Niels came inside, sat down in Finn's chair, boom, and looked around. That's a fine baby you got there. Would his father be home by any chance? Oh, I'm afraid not. He said something about catching a little fella called Niels. I'm sure he won't be gone long. Well, I'm Niels, and I'm trying to catch your husband. So you're Niels. Well, you still have time to get away before Finn comes home. Me? Run from him? It's him that'll be running from me. I think you got it wrong. Have you seen my husband? He's as hard as rock and as swift as the wind. Oh, speaking of the wind, could you turn the house around? The wind is shifting. Turn the house around? Exclaimed Niels in disbelief. That's what Finn does when the wind blows from the east. So Niels went outside and looked at the house. Then he seized it around the middle and turned it right around. Inside, Finn's teeth chattered with fright, but Una merely shushed him. When Niels came back inside, she thanked him as though he had done the most ordinary thing. Would you like some tea and cakes? Una made a large pot of tea and offered Niels one of the stony cakes. He took a bite. He spat out a tooth. What kind of cake is this? It's as hard as stone. Oh, that's Finn's favorite cake, but perhaps it's too much for you. Then Finn sucked his thumb and he knew exactly what Una wanted him to do. He let out the loudest wail ever heard. Wah! Now you've done it, you've woken him up. Then Finn yelled, "Cakes!" at the top of his lungs. Aw, just you eat that, Una said as she offered Finn one of the non-stony cakes. Niels watched in horror as the baby ate every last next? I can't say, because Nias was never heard of again. As for Sekolah, he was grateful to his brave and clever wife, who had once again used her wisdom to outsmart an enemy. Thank you.
Didik TV KPM